It was. They even made their own Spotify playlist of the music they wanted. Just Breathe by Willie Nelson was playing for the procession. I ran to get one of the cream-filled donuts someone had brought for my new stepmom to do the cutting of the cake thing. They did the twist to a Chuck Berry song for their first dance. I cried a lot. Thanks for your words.
If you enjoy these videos, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. Also, stay tuned for some funny comments in the thread throughout the video.
Men of Reddit who proposed and she said no. What happened afterwards with your life? My mother told my father no 3 times. On the 3rd time, he got wasted at a local bar and basically started pouring his heart out to anyone who'd listen. Mind you, it's a very small village in the Italian Alps and my father barely spoke Italian and no one in the village spoke English, including my mother. Word got back to my mum about this sad American at the bar, so she went to find him and she told him she'd marry him. My parents celebrated their 44th anniversary last month. This sounds like a genuinely romantic movie. Sad American at the bar, laughing my ass off. Awesome book title. I think I'm in the real life film adaptation of that one. Will you marry me? Cosa? I laughed out loud at this. Fuck, this is the truest form of love. My mum actually said no to my dad's proposal when they were younger. Not because they weren't in love, but because she wasn't sure if it was something she actually wanted to do, rather than something that society expected of her or whatever. They still stayed together and had kids, hence why you're reading this now. And then when my dad was terminally ill a few years ago, my mum plucked up the courage and asked him. Just to get her back after all those years, he said no before taking her up on the offer a few days later. He died a happy man. Edit. Holy shit, I uploaded this before bed and haven't been on Reddit since. Just flicked it on to see all of your lovely responses. Really does mean the world to hear people taking some joy from their story. Thanks so much. For a bit more context on this, it was actually 2 declined proposals, not just one. Both pre-children too, so let's say I'm lucky. Also, when they did get married, it wasn't purely an action for the estate or whatever. They already had wills, etc. sorted. It was just one of those last great days as a family. In fact, my sister and I were the only 2 present at the registry office. And when I say office, they literally squeezed us into one of the registrar's offices as there was a big waiting list for weddings and we didn't know how long he had. He died 3 months later, so we were all hugely grateful for them for helping us out like that. I'm so sorry for your loss. That was a beautiful story. What a response. Agreed. That was a really nice story. I'm so touched by your story. I'm so sorry for your loss, but feel warm inside knowing the love your dad had during his life. Thanks for your courage to share. Thank you. It's hard to see the beauty in these kinds of stories when you're so close to them. Sharing with you guys has helped me to understand it all a bit better. I'm not crying, you're crying. I am crying. That's the happiest shit I ever did read. Hi crying, I'm Ben. Hi Ben. Oh, I have a story about this. My friend A had been with his girlfriend B for years, so he decided he wanted to propose. What he didn't know is that B was also thinking about proposing to him. A proposed first and B freaked out because she had already set her proposal and bought a ring, so she said no. Over the next week, B freaked out more and more and refused to answer A's calls and messages. A then decided to use the money he had saved up to buy a plane ticket to Europe. What was supposed to be a 3-month trip through Western Europe turned out to be a year-long trip around the world. One day, A says that he's coming back and B decides to go and wait for him at the airport and propose to him there. It turns out that while being in Peru, A met a girl and they fell in love almost instantly and got married in Peru. 5 years later, A and his Peruvian wife are still happily married and recently had a baby, while B hasn't still quite forgiven herself for ruining her relationship with A. I don't understand why B would say no if that was what she wanted too.
If you enjoy these videos, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. Also, stay tuned for some funny comments in the thread throughout the video.
I can understand the initial no if she wanted to do her plan instead, but cutting off all contact was a fatal mistake. What if he wanted to do his plan, not hers? The proposal is just a means to an end. They would have ended up together either way. It seems to me that she said no because for her, the proposal was more important than the engagement itself, which unfortunately is a trend these days. Excitement for the giant expensive wedding, but none for the marriage itself. That's why I hate weddings. I will never understand why people spend so much money on one day when that same cash can be used in more meaningful ways to the marriage itself. That's why me and the now wife fucked off across the Atlantic to New York and did it for $100 with no family present. 100% would do it again. Well, hopefully not, but you get my idea. I understand both ways of thinking, but a wedding is a very meaningful rite of passage, and unfortunately the industry has made it nearly impossible to celebrate without paying a ton of money for the experience. But even if you're careful and frugal, you can't get around having to pay vendors their worth. Otherwise you can't feed your guests or keep photographic memories of the day. We did a frugal wedding with only 20 guests, and honestly, I did think it would be just a party, but it truly felt magical. It was weird how emotional and wonderful it felt to have close friends and family celebrating you and your love. My dad just got remarried, maybe about 20 guests as well, and it was just a potluck style ordeal as far as food, and all the guests took photos and added them to a shared album. We decorated with a few candles and lanterns we had lying around and wildflowers picked from the ditches around the house. $0, maybe $10 since they did contribute to the potluck as well. Extremely casual, but they felt like it was perfect. Not detracting from your point, just saying that it is possible to get around paying vendors if you aren't picky, and you have friends and family who aren't picky either. Congrats on your wedding, that sounds lovely. As does your dad's. That sounds so special and sweet. It was. They even made their own Spotify playlist of the music they wanted. Just Breathe by Willie Nelson was playing for the procession. I ran to get one of the cream-filled donuts someone had brought for my new stepmom to do the cutting of the cake thing. They did the twist to a Chuck Berry song for their first dance. I cried a lot. Thanks for your words. That sounds like an incredibly special day. Courthouse wedding and with home-cooked food at mum's house checking in. Best wedding I could have ever hoped for. How many people can say their wedding was 100% love and laughs and 0% stress? We hid in a corner of a resort where we met. I wore yoga pants and flip-flops and my husband wore jeans. Only my parents and our son present, along with my friend who married us. We went for dinner at the Cheesecake Factory and I stayed at the resort by myself that night because my husband's back had gone out and couldn't sleep anywhere but home. Parents watched the kid, I drank a bottle of champagne, watched Golden Girls and slept like a baby. Ordered a fancy-ass brunch for room service, drank a mimosa by the fire pit, and my husband picked me up at like 1 the next day. It was awesome. I think we'd be good friends. Congrats. Exactly the same as mine. Sure, we didn't have 200 guests, but over 2 days we managed to see and spend time with just about everyone that really mattered to us. On my friends' wedding pictures, they often look kinda tense. My wife and I are just all smiles. Anyone who goes in debt several thousands of dollars to pay for a wedding isn't thinking. Imagine playing that over and over in your head, wishing you could just go back and do it right. This wasn't that far down from the same story that ended happily. I think some people, typically women because they're more inundated with marriage talk, get their idea of a proposal in their minds and want it to be their way. Proposing yourself is a great way to make that happen. Pro tip: if marriage seems really important to your SO, ask them what their dream proposal would be. It definitely is very different from the other story. In this story, both people wanted to get married. In the other story, they both wanted to be together, but the woman didn't want to get married. This girl is an idiot. Stupidity. That's fucked. It's like in every movie where there is a problem that could be easily solved if people just talk to each other. Also known as the single worst goddamn trope in movies and TV. If you're a TV show, movie, and have a plot that could have been resolved in 10 seconds if 2 characters decided to talk to one another instead of whatever happened, you can go fuck yourself. Yeah, but don't stories like this show that it can happen? Know what you mean though. Can be pretty frustrating when a whole hour is wasted on idiots not writing a simple text. Bruh, does she realize what an idiot she is? Have you discussed with her about how she felt about what she did? I'm confident this woman realizes her mistake by now. Life mistakes. We are all capable of making those. Well, shit. That's something else. What a Ross thing to do. She was an art major and I had just joined the army. We had been lovers since high school. I asked, she said no. She wanted to get her master's. We were friends for a while, but we didn't talk anymore. She works as a bartender, I think now. I ended up getting married to my best friend. We've been married for more than a decade and have a 5-year-old son. Getting married to your best friend? Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi. Start cross-dressing? Not from an anime. As a woman who was engaged and the proposal was later revoked, it still stings a little 11 years later. When you're sure you're with the love of your life, losing them can really pop a hole in your life plans. When did you start to feel better? It's been 7 months and I still can't believe we're not getting married. I miss him and our dog and our house every day. But according to him, he ruined everything and doesn't want me back because our relationship will always be damaged. I feel like I've died. I would suggest trying to move on and keep busy. Don't rerun through all the painful memories and scenarios. I didn't like hearing it either, but it does get better. You just have to want and try to move on. Fuck this guy. He's manipulating you into thinking he is a good person, asking for your pity in exchange for him not having to tell you any sort of truth. I would not be surprised if he had been gaslighting you throughout your relationship, making you think everything he did to hurt you was your fault. Realizing this is what will heal you. Realizing that you are a real person with feelings and the capability to grow. Think about how he is limiting you and has limited you in your ability to trust yourself and feel good about yourself and become better. Think about how, when we hate ourselves, we think that if we only gave more, the other person would love us. They don't. They won't. We cannot change others, but we can change ourselves and stop basing our self-worth on external validation. Give yourself permission to heal. Learn to love yourself, and the right person will come along. Thank you for telling this. Whoa, even if it's already been a year after my breakup, I did not know how much I needed this. I was wondering something. Did you used to like romance movies before the proposal 11 years ago? And did you view them the same way after? Well, not even like, just was it different before and after? Sorry to hear this, friend. I'm 2 years, almost exactly to the day of when I should have got married to my ex. Even though I'm happy now and have a lovely, honest, supportive partner, I entirely agree with this. It changed me in a way I never saw happening, and I don't think I'll ever be 100% over it.